Hey, this is Chris. Now, something I think people are very sensitive to at the moment are hackers and scammers online. There's been a big increase recently. I've noticed it, a lot of attempted scams in my emails and text messages. But then also what happened with Optus and Medibank has also made people a little bit more concerned about their data online. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing 3 tips I have for people to be looking out for to help to avoid getting scammed online. Now, the first one is just avoiding giving away your personal details where you can. So obviously with some online services, if you're signing up for a bank account or an investment account, certain personal information is required, like your date of birth and your address. A lot of this is legitimately needed to actually verify you are who you say you are. However, there's lots of services online that ask for quite a lot of detailed personal information where you don't need to provide it and it's optional. And so for a lot of those services, I would really suggest thinking carefully about whether you provide personal information, how much you provide, and what information you provide. Because not all of these businesses, have the same security precautions, and you're actually facing, in many cases, a higher risk sharing this information to other businesses online. So tip number 1, pretty simple one, avoid sharing too much personal information where you don't have to. My second tip would be, always avoid clicking into text messages where you're getting texts from people you don't know and they provide you with links. Always the ones I get are scams. They'll often try and pretend to be a utility company, pretend to be your gas or electricity company. Someone from the ATO is popular as well. But generally these businesses aren't sending you text messages to get you to pay late notices or pay overdue fees. And so the best thing to do is actually to check whether you've also got an email. If you need to call the companies to actually quote your member number or account number to check actually what your balances are. But at all costs, avoid clicking into text messages in your phone, because almost always these are going to be scams, and they'll often look like the company that they're pretending to be, but they'll be trying to steal your money. So tip number 3, now this doesn't happen that often these days, but it's a good one to mention anyway. Don't give remote access to your computer to anyone online. So if someone reaches out online and suggests that they'll be able to help with something, this is often a scam that older Australians fall for, because they're looking for IT support or help online, and someone says, look, give me remote access to your computer and I'll fix it for you. This is a really dangerous thing to give people, because once you give someone remote access to your computer, they can find out all sorts of information about you. They can get access to a lot of documents and a lot of personal details. So if you need your computer fixed, go take it to the Apple store, go take it to somewhere to get fixed, but don't give someone remote access online. Tip number 4, now this is more specific to investment opportunities. I think online a lot of scammers prey on people's greed and wanting to make quick returns from investments. So look, generally speaking, if something sounds too good to be true, it is too good to be true. There are a lot of scammers online, posing to be legitimate investment businesses. So you really need to do a lot of due diligence when it comes to different investment opportunities online, which also leads me to tip number 5, which is be extra cautious when dealing with all investment opportunities. One of the bits of due diligence that I think everyone can do very easily, that can often help you identify scams or financial businesses that aren't legitimate, is the first thing you do when you're going and researching an investment business is go to their team page and their people page and go and actually research those people to find out whether they're real, whether they exist, look up their LinkedIn profiles, check that they match up, find out what you can about these people online, because a lot of the scammy financial businesses I see don't even have a people page or a team page, so it's very hard to find information about the people. Then if you go and search some of these people, you actually can't find much information about them online. The other thing that I often notice with these companies is they won't actually show a real address. And so go to their contact page, plug in their address and actually see, is there a real physical location there? Does it look like an office, or does it look like just a shack out in the middle of nowhere? Often these scams are based at an address in the middle of nowhere where there's not a lot of accountability or people can't find them, and so that's another thing to look out for. So look, there are a few of the tips I have for looking out for scams. It definitely pays to be extra cautious and never be rushed into clicking on anything or responding to anyone if you're unsure. where you can, just go and contact the direct service provider is always a tip I have, to check whether an email or a message or a text that you've got is actually legitimate. And they're my tips.